I actually came up with 125. So that's a very
Oh,
famous set that I came up with. I was actually in coaching at Auburn University my first year, and David Marsh was the head coach. And during Thanksgiving, we actually get the athletes, and we can coach them as much as we want. And so what we usually do before we send them home for Thanksgiving is we work them really, really hard. And I remember one particular day, David came up to me and basically said, "All right, Brett, I want you to write a workout that's memorable. I want them to walk. I want them to leave here for Thanksgiving and think to themselves, that's the toughest thing I've ever done. I want them to feel like they've just been hit by a truck, and but in a good way, like, wow, what the hell was that kind of thing?" And so I really sat there and thought to myself, like, well, like all the tough sets had already been done before. And when I talk about tough sets, you talk about, long, arduous type workouts where you're just getting pounded and pounded. And I thought to myself, well, I like the concept of that, but I want to do it fast. Like
yeah.
I want them to feel fast. I don't want them to feel like they're just getting beat up just for the sake of beat up. So I'm not going to give them 12 200s butterfly, that type of thing. And then that was always the mentality in swimming. And so I thought, well, yeah, I like the idea of working really hard for an extended period of time, but I want to go fast doing it. So I started to write out these 25s. And as I went down, I just kept going. And I thought to myself, I wonder how many we could do swimming at 100 pace. So if you're at the pace you want to be, I wonder how much we could do. And I ended up writing 10 sets of 10. And the interval actually started off with a very loose interval. So you basically started the first 10 on a minute. And then the way I wrote it out was you would drop 5 seconds on the interval each 10. So it was 55, 50, 45, 40. So it got faster and faster and harder and harder and harder. And I looked at it and I was like, I wonder if we can actually do this. This is crazy. 125s, 100 pace, on a descending interval. And I brought it to the athletes and they were like, that sounds really difficult, but let's give it a go. And I tell you what, it was just the best set I've ever experienced. That day was just magic, and they all bought into it and they all ate it up, but they were all completely wiped out by the end of it. And they were just said that's the hardest thing they've ever done. It was just, again, it's a set of 25s. They walked away from that, and I think the workout ended up taking us about 2.5 hours, because we had cool down in between each set of 10. And so I wanted them to be ready to go. I wanted them to give 100% each of the 10 25s that they did. And so they had to do 10 rounds of that. So that's kind of where it started. And I think there's just been variations of that over time.